Today's episode of This Week in MMO is brought to you by Harry's. Receive $5 off your order. Just make sure to use promo code GAMEBREAKER.
GameBreaker TV.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to This Week in MMO, episode 202 for September 11th, 2014. I'm Gary Gannon. Joining me, as always, Mr. Troy Blackburn and Mr. Justin JKK Kennedy. How are you, gentlemen?
We're going to talk about the video games today.
We are. We got a great show lined up today. Lots to talk about. Lots of stuff launched. Very excited. We've got new sponsors this week. Harry, super excited about that. I got a little super awesome kit right here. I'm going to show you guys in a little bit. Kicking
I was
that
going to say,
around.
I think I might need that. Like, I need to get it.
Yeah, why don't you send one of those to Justin real quick?
Yeah, we'll get
Just
you. We'll
about.
get you hooked up. We'll get you hooked up. We got an exclusive offer with them, so we'll get you all cleaned up. Get that beard trimmed.
We can just actually do a live stream here. I'll just have a bucket of hot water. Just do it on the street.
That'd be a
See how
great
it
idea.
goes.
Harry, they should do the shave challenge. The Harry shave challenge, sweeping across the internets. Big show this week. Lots going on, man. Lots going on. It's good to have Twemo back. We're gonna get some more shows rolling pretty soon, but Twemo is still trucking and rolling. We're getting all the ducks in the row and, getting the wheels back onto everything, but we got big
And
games
it's
to
that
talk
time
about
of
this
year where lots of awesome stuff is starting to happen too. We're getting towards the holiday season and lots of releases and lots of updates and expansions, and it's just an exciting time to be playing the video games.
This is
Yes,
the
yes.
time of the year when all the gamers get super excited because this is like, Christmas starts early for everybody. They start spacing them out with this Tuesday. Probably, I mean, there's a bunch of big releases coming out this holiday season over the next few months, but are there really, do you guys think that this is the biggest? This is the biggest release pretty much of the entire holiday season, right? We've got Battlefield, Dragon Age, you've got, you got a bunch of others coming out that are going to be very big, but I kind of feel like Destiny's the biggest.
Yeah, isn't it funny? The only other game that I think could maybe, as far as being that big, give it a run for its money is another Activision game, the Warlords of Draenor expansion. I mean, it's not a new game, but that's going to be a pretty big deal once that launches too. So, a good year to be Activision, I guess, making that money.
With the franchises that you expect their yearly releases, those obviously don't make as big of an impact in that idea. Like, okay, here's another release of this game. So obviously, Battlefield, Call of Duty, and that stuff's just going to be another release.
Yeah,
But
even
Destiny
Assassin's Creed
is-
kind of feels like that a little bit. Like,
Yeah,
it's just,
well, it
as
is.
cool as Unity looks, they've gotten so many releases lately that you just feel like, oh, another Assassin's Creed game.
Well, there's like 3 Assassin's Creed games announced, isn't there? Like,
Yeah, I think there's one coming between now and before Unity even launches. That road
wait,
thing or whatever.
They just announced the next Assassin's Creed game is coming out on the iWatch. That just did. That just came in.
you have to actually do parkour in order to
Yeah.
do it.
What'd you guys think of that? We were talking about Destiny. What'd you guys think of the Apple announcement? You guys Apple fanboys? I'm surrounded by Apple gear. I'm a total fanboy.
No, I
Most
just
gamers
bought
aren't,
a tablet
eh?
this week, and it was absolutely Android. So there you go.
You're a
I don't-
tinkerer, aren't you?
Yeah.
I've lost care for their phones or iPads. They're too simple, too straightforward, and too limited in how much you can do to it.
Another tinker.
guess.
Another person who wants to tinker.
But the watch
Oh
is
my
cool.
God.
Mess with stuff.
All my geek friends, all my geek friends converted me to an Android a couple years ago, and I was like, all right, let me try this. And then I got the phone, and I realized how much you have to tinker with it to like just even keep it up to date and functioning properly. And I was like, I hate this. I just want to make a phone call. Like I
That was
don't
kind
want.
of like having a PC. I mean, you tinker with PCs
I hate
and
PCs.
then download things, and I love PCs.
I hate PCs. I hate them. I do. The only reason I own a PC is for gaming. I love it for gaming. That's it.
Apple
That's all
fanboy.
it does.
Apple
all it
fanboy.
does.
This
Sorry.
Twemo brought to you by
I am.
Apple.
It's
Man.
true. This monitor right here is Apple. There's an iMac right here that's Apple. My phone's Apple. There's an iPad behind me that's Apple. I don't know. I like people. Some people, gamers usually hate the like walled in garden of not being able to do stuff with it. I don't know. I actually like it. I don't want to
It's
tinker
so
with my
5
phone.
years ago. Apple's so 5 years ago. Come on, get with
They
the
are
times,
going
man.
downhill. Did you guys watch the keynote? Did you see that YouTube? That was ridiculous. That was such a disaster. So dumb.
We got Apple's like, we've got a phone, and now we have a bigger phone.
That's where I'm torn right now. Is do I get the large phone or the small one? I don't know if I want a phone that big. 5.
I was going to say, I've heard a lot of people complaining about that, and they're like, if I'm going to get one that big, I might as well go get one of those Galaxies, those Samsung Notes or whatever that are
The Note,
freaking basically a tablet that you
Well,
hold
The
up to your
Note's like a
face with
5.
the phone.
The Note's like a 5.7, and then the bigger one is a 5.5 on the Apple side. I don't know. I'm kind of torn between the two. Like, I want the larger one just because it's bigger, but I don't really know why. I feel like I'm going to get it, though, and then realize it's so big that I don't want to carry it around. I'm going to be like, this is a waste. This is totally dumb.
Well, I feel like they followed that up with like, and if you don't like the bigger phone, we have a smaller one, the watch.
Oh, yes. The watch.
Or they'll package the new big phone with the watch and be like, when you don't feel like holding the big phone, put it in your pocket and wear the watch.
Hell no,
I'm
they're not
totally
packaging
gonna
those together. They need to charge like $600 a pop for those.
Did the
Because
watch impress you guys?
Overpricing? No, I don't see anything. I don't see any reason to own that. If you own, like, if you're an Apple dude, you probably own a Mac. You probably own an iPhone, and you probably own a freaking iPad too. Why in God's name do you need that watch on top of all?
That's
of
what
that?
people said about the iPad. That's what everybody said about the iPad. Watch. In 2
I've got
years
a
from now,
laptop.
everybody's gonna have a watch, and they're just gonna be like, I can't live without this watch. This is like the greatest thing
actually
ever.
like-
That it's on my wrist.
I like the watch. I think the watch will actually hit the people who it'll affect the most and really like it, are possibly anybody who does sports or anything physical activity wise, because being able
that
to wear
would be
that
none of
watch and
us.
have it,
There'd be no one on this
but,
panel.
but having it monitor your heartbeat and stuff, like when I was in high school and ran track, like that's what I always had a watch. I had a watch.
My
just
wife
for
can
that.
put her fingers on the
useful.
back of her phone, and it gives her her heart rate.
Yeah, but you can't carry that while you're running and doing stuff. or
She
working
does.
out,
She
dude.
listens to music and like holds it while she runs and stuff. I'm just saying.
I'm more excited.
Player.
I'm more excited that I can wear my watch and then go buy more Apple stuff with my watch. I could just hold it up and just buy shit, more Apple shit. Here,
Can
just
you
take
do
my
that?
money. Here.
Can you do
Yeah,
that?
you're
Is
gonna,
it
well,
a
you're, just like the
scanner?
phone, you're gonna be able to walk. You're gonna be able to use the watch to buy stuff at the cash register. So instead of pulling out your credit cards, which is that's a huge play for Apple. That's gonna be huge. Everybody's gonna be doing that. Everyone's gonna
So we're gonna have watch
now you can
thieves
do-
back.
steal my
Who can
watch.
steal my watch?
Did you guys
I
see
mean,
Did you guys see the MOBA that they showed off though at the keynote? It was actually really impressive. I mean, obviously it looks a lot like a game, LOL, but looked like it played really nice.
I didn't get to see
That's
it.
great, but if it's the same game, it's not going to go anywhere. There's room, and I think we've talked about this before. There's room in that genre for expansion and making things different. But if you're just creating another League of Legends, I just don't see it taking off at all.
Was
see the
this
big-
just a demonstration of the power of the new phone? Is that what the purpose of it was? Or
Yeah, I mean they were showing off like, hey, gaming obviously faster chip can do more. So with 1080 screen and like the amount of polygons they can push around, like it's got a really pretty amazing like fidelity for a screen like that. The big question always on tablet stuff is control, right? Like how do you control that stuff? I gotta actually say one of the few games on the iPad that I like as a gamer, and yes, full disclosure, they are a sponsor of this week's show as well, but it's actually really cool. I love World of Tanks Blitz. Like, I don't know if you guys have checked it out on an iPad or like a tablet, but they did a sick job, especially on the controls, and they did the
Do
smartest
they have
thing.
that on Android?
I don't know. You should check. I don't know. I
I was
honestly
gonna say,
don't know.
I'm going to have to check.
It's
I have a
really,
new toy, and I need things to play on it.
It's really slick. I mean, it's probably the best game that I have on my iPad. And I think the coolest thing that they did was they actually let you move the controls around into certain areas so that you can fit them perfectly where like how you want to hold your tablet, where you want to put them, where your thumbs rest. You can set it up. I really like it. You guys haven't checked it out. World of Tanks Blitz is awesome. All right, we're gonna talk about Destiny. I'm gonna talk about Harry's first because they're a brand new sponsor and I'm super excited. And Justin needs to get a shave, so we're gonna.
That he does.
We've got,
live on stream.
If you've never heard of Harry's, they are a shaving company, harrys.com, and we have an exclusive $5 off promo code. Save yourself $5 just by using the promo code GameBreaker. They were awesome enough to send me out a kit here. I got my kit right here. This is the starter kit, which I highly recommend. I'm going to get into the price in a second, but this is the it's called the Winston. I think this is the Winston edition. Yes, this is the Winston edition, which you get your really great shaver. Love the balancing on it. Got a chrome. The Winston has the chrome, which is nice, but really, really, really nice, high quality shaver.
How many blades on that bad boy?
So that's the starter edition is great. So it comes with one on the clip, then it comes with two more. Comes with two more for you. So nice, two more. You got a little safety cap for the top of your shaver, and then you also get the shaving cream, which smells amazing. It's kind of mentholy and pepperminty. It's nice. So they got two kits now. The five, I really would have pegged this thing at seriously like $50. If you asked me how much this whole package was, I was gonna say $50. And I'm really surprised the Truman is $15. So the Truman is basically this kit, it looks like, without the silver chrome handle and a colored handle, which comes in a bunch of different colors. You get white, green, orange, blue. Or the Winston for an extra $10 is $25 with the chrome handle, which is equally really nice. I do like the chrome. I'm kind of a fan of chrome. If you care about the aesthetics, it kind of fits my bathroom stuff much better. And you can engrave this one as well. You can engrave your initials on the chrome one. So $15 for the one starter, $25 for the other, and you could save $5. So bam! I don't know what you're waiting for, guys out there. You need a shave, so you know how nice it is to have a good shave, some good shave equipment. It's nice to have something with a little weight. So if you're using anything less than this, and you got to throw those other throwaways in the garbage and get your butt on over to harrys.com and pick up a set and save yourself $5. Just use the promo code GameBreaker. You're gonna use the promo code on your checkout. You're gonna immediately save $5. Super excited to have these guys on as sponsors. So go check it out today. That's harrys.com. All right, let's talk a little bit about a little sci-fi space shooter called The Destiny. Came out on a couple consoles.
Have you been playing it much?
I'm actually surprised we're not at home for your show today.
Yeah, that's where I was going with that.
It was close. It was close. I got here really late. I think I am level 12, 13, about 12, 13.
Oh, but you're doing it wrong. Okay. There was a level 26 within like hours of the game.
Yeah, we know. I'm obviously doing it. I'm always doing it wrong, Troy.
He walks backwards to play.
I do. This is true. I'm having a fantastic time. I think it's great. I think it does a lot of the things that I've been waiting for a console online kind of multiplayer / MMO-esque game. Something that like I've wanted for a really long time. Like they've really nailed it. People keep asking me the question about the Borderlands comparison. A lot of people play Borderlands. Is it kind of like that? And it doesn't feel like that. It feels just much more cohesive. It's much more streamlined. It's much more thought out. And the story's great. The combat's awesome. The guns feel great. The mobs are cool. Like it's a ton of fun. I'm really enjoying it. You guys been watching streams or anything?
Yeah, I've been reading a little bit. The main complaint I'm hearing from a lot of people is that it's not MMO-ish enough for them. I don't know what they were expecting. I mean, we've talked about it being sort of MMO-ish, but at no point did they advertise that it's going to be a flat-out MMO. As an MMO player, how do you feel about kind of where it is compared to where you thought it might be?
It's more closer to where I thought it would be, and it's much closer to where I wanted it to be. I'm in a different camp. I didn't want a traditional MMO. Like I just there's enough of them. We got 8 million of them to choose from. Like if you wanted another WoW, go play WoW. Like if you wanted another, there's so many options there. Mm-hmm. I really wanted an RPG type experience that had MMO, qualities that you could play with your friends. And usually most of those games came with a single player story campaign that you could never share with your buddies. And that's kind of where this bridges the gap, so to speak. Now the game it shifts quite dramatically at 20, which I haven't reached yet, but I was watching as they didn't start talking about this type of stuff of post 20 content until the game actually launched. I think IGN had a big video and some other stuff where they kind of got into it a bit more. So it's really interesting how they're shifting leveling and things like that, which is going to be odd for MMO players. They're going to kind of the hardcore in this show are gonna freak out and be like, "What?" So do you guys understand? Like, so I mean, so 1 through 20, you're pretty much basically, you know, doing missions and gaining XP by doing things. You gain XP and you got a little meter, and you know it goes up and you gain a level and things like that. At 20, level cap, soft cap is 20, and then at 20, what you do is you don't have XP leveling anymore. You basically obtain gear that the gear levels you. So you level from 20 to 30 via gear. So running things, but your story missions pretty much stop at 20. The story's pretty much done, which I got to say, like, I'm only 12, but I'm feeling like the story's going to feel quite short. Like, I can't believe I'm already like 12. My buddy's already 20, like hit it
Until
last night.
November, right?
Until November, and you get the DLC for sure. So that's how they're banking on this. But I think for a lot of MMO players, they're gonna maybe think that this would have been longer. And when you think for like MMO players, like they're used to just being like overcompensated, like just over the top amount of quests that you get in an MMO, right? Like you're just go to a quest giver in a traditional MMO and you just get like fill up in your quest log with like, you know, 20.
I hate that crap.
Like, yeah, like that. I'm saying, like this is so not that. I mean, each planet has maybe 6 missions, and that's it. And then you move on to the next planet, and there's like 6 or 8 more missions, and then you move on to the next planet, 6 or 8 more missions, and that 4th planet, 6, 8 more missions, and story's gonna be done. So, in actuality, I mean, you're guessing. I don't know. You're probably doing maybe, I don't even know. I didn't count them, but just 40 quests maybe. You know, and then you've got the PvP and you've got all that stuff, and you can go back and rerun missions, and you can put them on harder mode and things like that, which I'm already doing a bit on the side, help people out, things like that. So you go back and you run stuff over and over. Of course, you got PvP, yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's right now it's really scratching the itch. It's really scratching the itch.
So how would you respond to these folks on Metacritic who are giving it 0 out of 10?
This is why Metacritic's completely broken.
Yeah, what I see in Metacritic is a lot of this. I see a lot of, this game's not what I wanted it to be, so a 0 is what I'm giving it.
There's one aspect of this game I don't like, therefore it gets a 0. I saw one person, they literally gave it a 0 because they were like, the voice communication does not work as it should, as I really would like it to. 0.
0.
What? 0.
There was a lot
the
of
voice communication doesn't
average.
work the way you would want it to work. 0. Okay. Yeah.
Apparently average is 0 now as well.
It's almost I almost wish they would just get rid of the consumer, or whatever they call it there, the non-critic side of Metacritic. I wish they would just get rid of it. Like it makes no
scores
sense.
At least I'm fine with them leaving the reviews written or whatever. But
yeah, that's what I mean. Like I would leave the review side. I would get rid of letting the public do it because it's just a disaster. Because it's a bunch of whiny little ninny a-holes, and they just nitpick, and then they give it a 0, and it's like there's just no it's just ridiculous. There's no, they're not being objective whatsoever. There's one little thing or something about it that they like, you know, sticks in their side, and they give it a 0. How is that?
And then, unfortunately, on the other side, you get the folks who still enjoy the game, but would maybe give it an 8, a 9.
Sure.
They feel the need to give it a 10 to offset all these zeros that the game doesn't deserve. I'm sorry, if you put a game in your machine and it launches and you shoot something, it deserves more than a 0.
Yeah, 0 is like
0 should be for like Kickstarters that don't launch.
Yes,
Kickstarters that don't deliver.
If the game functions, it deserves at least a 1. I mean, come on.
Chat room is right. I mean, I think a lot of the people who end up going to Metacritic for the most part hate the game on the game anyway. There's not a ton of people that go to Metacritic that take the time out to give good reviews. It's far less.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a broken system. It's just a completely broken system. I don't know what they get out of it. I go to Metacritic. I don't mind Metacritic. I know a lot of gamers hate it and they like want it to die. They just wish Metacritic would go away completely. But I don't mind like the legitimate, like, you know, outlet side of things when they like just kind of bundle them all up and give it a review score. I use it all the time. It just kind of gives me a quick gauge. Sometimes it's for games that like, never heard of this game. Let me just hit it really quick. Like, is this even worth my time? Like to even look further into it. And if a game gets even a halfway decent score, like, but it looks interesting to me, I'll then dig deeper and be like, oh, okay, well, I can so maybe this game gets like a 6 or a 7, but it might be a game for me. I might really like it. But I don't know. What do you guys on zeros? I mean, I would they innovated on so many fronts here, and the game is just, I mean, it's lag free. Servers went off like without a hitch. I logged right in at midnight. There was no problems. I have not encountered one bug. I have not encountered one bug at all. And I gotta say, side note,
but
I'm sure there are. I'm just saying I haven't encountered any.
yeah.
The other side note is their website is freaking awesome. And holy crap, it's updated like to the second. Like you finish something in the game, you can like open up the app and 2 seconds later it's on the app.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah, and that was part of the reason, wasn't it? Like they wanted the whole thing of being able to communicate. Can you communicate with your friends through like the app or whatever, real quick?
Yeah, you can send messages. You can send message. You can see where they're at. You can see what missions they're on. You can change gear on the app. You can change your gear on the app. Yeah, no, it's an awesome app and it's an awesome website. It's great.
No, I'm sorry if you gave this game a 0 out of 10. You're a moron. It's definitely not a 0. I haven't even played the game. I don't even own the console. And I'm telling you, you're a moron if you gave it a 0 out of 10. I mean, come on, get real. There's and also a lot of these went up within like the first couple of hours the game was up, and you're like, how could you even like the professionals who do this for a living? A lot of them don't even have reviews up yet, at least at the point where a lot of this stuff was going up, because they know you have to play through the game in order to do something like that. You don't just log in and be like, oh, I don't like the color of this piece of gear I just equipped. 0 out of 10.
0. Troy, what did I type to you in work chat yesterday? Welcome to the assholery of the internet.
Man, yeah.
But I feel like Metacritic should go through this, look at some of those user reviews. Like, you gave it a 0, and that's your review. You're banned for the next 100 years.
I agree. I think they should delete those things. If there's no merit behind them whatsoever, I agree, because it sucks that like it reflects against the game, and like some people will look at that and actually think like, wow, this game must be terrible. Like some people will legitimately look at it right now and not maybe understand what Metacritic is and don't really follow games like we do and not know that it's kind of like bogus and look at it and be like, wow, why is it getting all these zeros? This game must be terrible. I'm not going to buy this game.
Yeah, or even do a report feature, I guess. Like if like someone who can just simply report it and it gets enough reports and then it goes to them to look at and then they can possibly move it, or it gets downloaded enough it gets removed. I don't know, but it's definitely not in a beneficial way, which we know Activision will use to pay Bungie. Probably.
I'd have to say, I'm trying to think. While you're talking, I'm thinking like if I don't want to review it, but if I had to say like my experience so far from 0 to 12 with one class, I'd probably give it like a 9, maybe 9.1.
Well, let me ask you a couple questions. How tight are the controls? Do they feel like
they feel great?
Good shooters controls?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Easy to flow and move in between.
I'm not a pro player, but yes, completely. Yeah, no, the controls very super simple. Yeah, your muscle memory being there like 2 seconds. Like there's not a whole lot. It's pretty basic stuff, you know. Aim, shoot, grenade, special attack, reload. Like it's.
Do you feel futuristic, sci-fi?
Yes. Yeah, the atmosphere is unbelievable. The environments that those artists put together, just the overall design of it it's unbelievable. It's amazing. Like it's such a beautiful world.
It's funny that you say that the controls are, you know, simple and streamlined and easy to understand, because that's what I would expect in something like a shooter. But that's a complaint that I've been seeing a lot of is, well, it plays just like every other shooter out there. And I'm just like, it's a shooter.
What do you want to do? Remap like keys so you don't know what to do?
It is a shooter. Whether you think it's an MMO or not, it's still a shooter. I don't understand what you were expecting, some sort of game-changing shooter mechanic. You point, you shoot, it should be responsive, and it should be easy enough to aim that you can hit a target without being, you know, overly frustrated.
And like I said, there's no, like the latency is so good, and it's just like, you know, you don't feel anything. Like it feels super tight. I mean, that's all I want in a shooter. I don't want like some stupid innovation like in the shooting mechanics. I mean, that's ridiculous. I want the guns to feel good. I want the combat to feel good. I want to feel like I'm hitting them, and I want to feel like a badass. And I don't want it to like, you know, frustrate me. Having all of those things, all those ticks have been checked.
It sounds like it's definitely worth it. Like, I still want it, after, regardless of the Metacritic reviews, regardless of what some people have complained about. From what I've seen from the people who are actually playing the game and accepting it for what it is and not what they wanted it to be, or what they wanted it some other game to be or something, I want to buy it. I want to get.
Well, that's the
PS4
hard
and
thing,
play
right?
it.
There's not a whole lot on the market that you can kind of compare it to. I mean,
Yeah.
they've got these really great, there's a couple little things that I don't personally like, but I wouldn't hold it against them. Like the two things I don't like about the game, if I had to pick two, I don't love the amount of backtracking you do. So basically, when you get missions, you end up going back to some of the same areas to go to different parts of the map and things like that, and it opens up different corridors and stuff. But at certain points, you start feeling like, oh man, I've been running down this area now like for the third time. You know what I mean? So like some of the backtracking, a little bit annoying, but it's not so bad. And then the other one is completely from a storytelling point of view. Is I really don't like the story basically being told like 90% from the perspective of the ghost. Peter and his voiceover is actually his voiceover is not that good, which I'm so surprised. It's really just not. He just doesn't nail it. And so I guess the only thing from an RPG like MMO kind of player, like I like story being, this is a story thing, right? Which most shooter players don't really give a shit. They just want to go shoot, right? So, but from story player point of view, I would have rather you do meet characters in game and cutscenes, and they do converse with you, and you learn from that. But I'd say like, so far, like 90% of it is your ghost talking to you and telling you about a mission, which is like delivering some of the story. And I'm just like, I'd rather meet more cool people in the world and kind of let the story unfold and deliver it through characters. And that doesn't happen. So that's it. Everything else, I mean, I love the game itself. It's great.
How are the big battles and like boss fights and stuff?
Oh my God. I was talking about this last night with my buddies, and like that is something that somehow they have nailed to the point. I don't know what kind of voodoo they got going on with the numbers on the spreadsheets, but it like the waves of mobs when you get to like big fights, like boss fights and stuff, they put you to the point almost every time where you feel like you're on the edge of your seat, your hands are sweating, you feel like you're going to die at any second, and it feels like it's like, oh my God, is this ever going to stop? Like, I can't handle this anymore. And you do think there's like almost no way you're going to defeat this, and you do. You beat it. And it's great because it feels so good afterwards. But even my buddy was playing. He was like, he couldn't sit down and play it. He had to stand. He was standing in front of his TV, like walking back and forth because he was so like angst up. And he was just like, oh my God. It gets that like that blood flowing of like that, just it's got like this real feeling to it. And like I said, I don't know. It almost feels like, I don't even know if there's like some sort of scaling going on where it knows that you're just like on the brink of death, and it like knows how to like, it's so perfect. It's almost like it's like this perfect balance going on. Crazy.
I was watching a video the other day. There were three guys, and I forget who it was, but they were like three competitive shooter players. Like they can play competitively in shooters. And I was watching this video, and I was on the edge of my seat because even these guys who play games like this professionally, man, it was like one would go down and they would just get him up, and another guy would go down. Then this wave would come in, and then you're like, oh, I gotta get some damage on this boss, and then the boss would turn on you and do a ton of damage. Me as a spectator was like, oh my God, they're not going to get it.
Oh my God, they're not going to make it. Yeah. That's the way it feels, man. That's the way it feels. I guess the only other thing talking about the boss fights, some of them, once you sort of do them, they do sort of become not predictable in the sense of the mechanics of what happens, but it's like wave boss, bigger, boss. Like they kind of do the same thing every time. Like there's kind of like a pattern to how they've set up the missions and / boss fights. Hopefully down the road, we'll see some more diversity with some stuff like that and see some missions that like maybe are a little different. We'll see.
I mean, all this makes me wonder if they do have like some sort of algorithm sitting out there going, all right, they cleared the first wave really easily. Let's boost up the power 2 times. The next one.
It completely...
They're low on health. They've died several times. Let's make it easier now for them to finish.
It completely could have some sort of flexing going on. If it is, it's absolutely brilliant, and it makes for great gameplay. And if they are doing something like that, I think other companies should think about doing that, because you, like I said, you feel this ebb and flow of the fight like happening, and you feel like you're just like, the waves of mobs coming at you are just like relentless and nonstop. And then you get into like bad situations and you're like, I'm totally gonna fucking die. And you're like yelling at your buddy and you're just like, I'm gonna die. But then you don't die. And it's like, oh my God, like it feels really good. It feels really good. I mean, what's going on with the PC talk? Are they, was there any more talk about the PC version?
They just keep saying it's not off the table. That I think that's about the extent of what we keep hearing, is that there's always talk of PC, and we're not ruling it out. but they are very careful to word it in a way where nobody can take it and run with it and say, oh, it's coming on PC confirmed, because you know how people will just take anything you say and just turn it into something else. They're being very careful about what they're saying to make it sound like it's definitely not coming.
I mean, I don't see. I would actually be very surprised if it does come to PC. That's what, after playing it. It is so designed for a console, like in all of their systems and how it works together. Not to say that it couldn't work on a PC, but basically they would be making it just to sell units in the PC market. And to be quite honest, I love my PC for gaming, and I do way more PC gaming than console gaming, but the PC market is pretty small compared to a console market. I don't know. I don't know if
PC players are pretty sensitive. When something's just a straight console port and hasn't been tweaked and sort of made to run well on a PC gamers feel that, and they know that, and they don't like that very much.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the game may look fun, but if it still feels like, if you're sitting in front of your PC and you feel like you could be having a better time on a console, that's not something you really want for a PC game.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't see them doing anything to enhance the game on a PC that's going to make it more MMO-ish or anything like that. So you're not going to get any of those things. You're just going to get pretty much what's on there. So I don't know. I'd be really surprised if we see it come to PC.
The biggest thing is if it does come to PC, they cannot continue to release every following expansion late on PC after that. Like, it can't continuously go, oh, well, PC version came out 2 months after the initial launch, so every expansion is going to come out 2 months later. Because that would just drive PC players completely nuts every single time, especially if they're waiting to release 10 years worth of expansions or whatever, or their games. That just wouldn't work. So if they're going to come out with PC, they're going to have to, I think, stick on the timeline, which means I definitely don't think we would even see it. I think they just come out with it probably for Destiny 2 or whatever that is next year they plan to do. If they were going to do it, I would just start it at the same time as that next big release and then continue on from there. See how it does for the next year on console.
All I can say to all the PC players out there is you probably have a friend with a PS4 or an Xbox One who has it. I definitely suggest going over to their house and at least checking it out. It's definitely worth checking out. But again, I think we've talked about this in the past too. I don't know if I don't see the social MMO aspect of it ever being big. I'm actually confused by a couple things like that. I don't know, maybe even somebody could leave a comment, maybe tell me what they think. Because one thing I'm really confused by is, like, when you go into town at the tower, they have a lot of bank vaults set up. Like there's areas where you can get access your bank vault. There's a ton of them, but there's nobody ever at the tower. Like, it's always kind of empty. Like, you usually see like 2 or 3 people. So it's like, that's the social hub where you see these other players, but there's never really like tons of players like hanging out there. There's no line to like wait for your bank. I'm trying to really understand like what. I guess it's the one thing I think a lot of MMO players would have thought, that like the game will have more of a social aspect component, but it's not gonna be like Ironforge and you're gonna have like people hanging out. I mean, maybe once everybody's done leveling and they're just hanging out, there'll be more people there, but I don't see that whole like just hanging out in a world.
Performance issues. I wonder if they were worried about performance issues for both the server and it, and they just said, let's make the numbers small just to prevent that. We'll just create several instances instead.
I mean, I don't really see what adding more players in those areas would do. Like, like I said, you're there to like, trade in quests to get your rewards, pick up some new guns and stuff, and then get back out in the world. And the matchmaking system just works. I love the matchmaking system, how it just works and matches you up with people.
With all that being said, do you feel like you exist in like a populated world, or does it feel a little barren? Like you and a couple of guys are the only people on this planet?
Feels kind of barren. It feels like you and a couple of guys, like when which is, again, for me, that's what I wanted. Like, I wanted, like, when I played Skyrim, I wanted to play Skyrim with like one other buddy. Like, I didn't want like 2,000 people running around. I just wanted to play with a friend and be like, well, oh my god, that quest was so much fun. Like, and that's what happens.
The cinematic trailer. Like, the cinematic trailer didn't show you with a whole bunch of 100 people grouping up to go do something. Yeah, it was, you took a bunch of friends and you're out there raiding the different planets and checking them out. And
that's what it is.
Looting.
When you go to the planet, you'll see a couple other players running around here and there. Once you usually get to where your quest objective is, and you go into a corridor, you don't see anybody for the most part. You do run into people, but it's pretty. It's not very common. So, yeah, the game is not that. That's where it's very different from MMOs. Like, it's not trying to do that. It's trying to basically create an experience that's story driven for you and, you know, your close group of friends, or maybe like a couple people that you've grouped up with if you don't have any friends.
I think even
which is fine.
From the console player perspective, like when I even had a console, I didn't jump on there and randomly group up with people and stuff and constantly do that. Like when you go to play a console, you call up your friend going, "Hey, I'm jumping on. Join me right now. Let's go to play this game." And that was part of the experience. I mean, consoles have always been that for online play or for group play anyways, it's always been that play with your friends right there next to you for the longest time. And then online now it's just call them up, we're both jumping on, we're going to play together. And if it provides that level of constant content for you and your friends to go play, then it's worth it in my opinion. Random matchmaking is never fun anyway. Friends don't let friends pug.
Yeah. Well, so this is really interesting. I don't know if you guys know this, but this is a really interesting way they're doing this. So 1 through 20, when you're doing all the story missions, it's usually 1 through 3. It's 1 through 3 players. So if you're jumping on your solo, it's going to automatically do a pug with 2 other players, which for the most part is okay until they suck. But you know, it is what it is. Or if you have 2 other your friends on or whatever, you just group up and go do it. Post 20, though, from what I understand, or at least when the raid comes out, the raid isn't unlocked, I believe, for another 2 weeks. It's time gated, so it's not even open yet. But I believe that there's only one raid to start in the game, and it's
Sounds
at
like
level 20.
game.
You have to be level 25 to do it, but there is no matchmaking. You have to have a group of friends that you are friends with to go do this raid, and you have to put that group together. They specifically want you to do that.
People hate on that, but I like that.
I was going to say, if they're not already hating on it, give it a week and they will be. There'll be plenty of people irate about it.
Like I said, no one's experienced it
OMG.
yet. Nobody's experienced it yet because it's gated, so it's still closed. But the reasoning behind it is that they're saying how difficult this raid is going to be. And they want it to be extremely difficult. They want it to have a lot of coordination. And they don't want necessarily roles. Like, you're not going to all of a sudden be like, I'm the healer. But they really want people to be on headset, be able to communicate, and you're gonna have to like talk to your friends. So post 20, like I said, it's very interesting. It's a big shift. It's a big change. Like when you hit endgame, how much the game actually kind of changes in the way it plays. But I don't know. Yeah, it sounds like it could be kind of interesting. I don't know, or that's the point where I completely fall off and don't play that because I'm not a raider usually. But I'm kind of excited for this. But I don't know. That could be the point where I just go, oh, I'm out.
Could be fun.
All right, should we talk about some other stuff?
Sure.
All right, let's talk about ESPN. So ESPN president John Skipper. He says esports is not a real sport. By you guys both chuckling of my intro to him.
Shortly after they broadcast a Dota 2 tournament. When did the Dota 2 tournament?
Yeah,
On ESPN 3?
ESPN 3, yes.
We're going to showcase this, and I'm assuming, from what I've heard, they did fairly well on it as well. And then he's going to come out, and I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not a sport as we traditionally think of it, but this almost comes across more as a knock. Like, why even bring this up if you're not trying to knock it down a notch?
And I think it was trying to knock it down a notch because this response was on the heels of a question regarding the Amazon buyout of Twitch, and they asked him what he thinks about the Amazon buyout of Twitch, and saying that the people who play esports there and watch millions of people watch professional players, and I think he kind of felt slighted. I mean, he's an older gentleman; he doesn't really understand the internet, it seems, from some of his responses in general. But I think he kind of wanted to be like, "We're not concerned" type of deal, like that. Like ESPN's better because we have real sports, not your all's.
If you're not concerned, you need to get concerned real quick, brother, because Twitch is huge and it's still growing.
He said he follows this up with a comment later. I didn't include this. Something about I remember. I think he said, "Who goes to Google to watch sports?" He goes, "I'm not sure you're going to go to Google to watch the Rose Bowl." That's what he said. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that once we get into streaming a lot more, we're going to be going to places that have it.
I'm waiting for the day when I can get more things like that on the internet easier. Like, I'm surprised more things aren't kind of going that direction, and more like networks aren't having like a subscription on their website to watch the shows and things like that. I mean, just it's headed that direction as much as you want to try to pretend like it's not. It is.
Well,
there's
that's
going to be a day
that
where you
has a
can see
lot
just
to do
about
with.
anything.
Yeah, I mean that has a lot to do with the cable companies and the licensing rights that they are holding on
Yeah.
to. Like they are clutching rights to things like
That's
no tomorrow.
what I
They don't want that stuff going out on the interwebs. I don't know. I see both sides of this thing. I you know. I think maybe we're taking what he's saying a little bit personally, to the point that you think that he's sort of knocking it and saying, but I don't really necessarily know if this is going to become a mainstream television type of thing. And I don't necessarily know why ESPN would want to broadcast something like this. I think it's made for the internet. I think it should stay there. But I do get his point of saying, ESPN is in the business of broadcasting, humans playing against humans, in some sort of physical sport kind of thing. I don't even think, ESPN, does ESPN even do they broadcast chess
poker.
competitions?
They do poker.
Poker's
Yeah,
huge.
they-
Poker's
poker.
actually huge.
They do huge poker tournaments.
But
And
still,
like we
the
said
thing
at
is-
the beginning,
But the reason you watch poker is because it's
Because the people that
personality.
lose-
You watch poker because of the banter between while they're having hands. I mean, it's almost like watching a reality show. That's why you watch poker. Think with a Dota 2 tournament, it's like the kids just everyone just sits there and then you just watch. There's a lot less personality. I don't know. I get what he's sort of saying.
didn't stop him from trying to give it a shot, though, did it?
I think he's kind of simply behind times in a lot of things. I think I'm not even sure if he's even aware what his company does, because they're the ones branching online streaming anyways themselves. They started doing all the online streaming for the World Cup this year and things, and they're obviously doing the Dota stuff. They tried it out. I'm sure it did pretty decently. So it's almost like he's just out of touch in general. And I understand he probably is one of those old guard of this isn't a sport, and that's fine. That's a different thing altogether. But I think the people that attacked mostly is that he kept trying to put it down like it's not worth watching.
Yep. I think that's the main thing to take away here. What he said isn't necessarily wrong, but the way he said it comes across as this isn't good enough for us, even though we just showed you some of it. We wanted to give it a shot.
All of that will change when all the advertisers want to start hitting that demographic really hardcore and advertising dollars come in. All of a sudden, it'll be like, Dota 2 all over, 24 hours of Dota 2 on ESPN 3. We're going to make ESPN Dota. New
An
channel.
esports channel, just ESPN Network. Welcome to the new
I can
channel.
definitely foresee that. Yeah, a separate channel for it, definitely. I can see
That's
them
really all
doing
that they need. You just need advertisers roll in and they want to spend dollars. There will be a channel. Don't you worry. All right, next up, Warhammer 40K, the Eternal Crusade pre-orders founder program.
This is stupid.
Justin just
all
sighs. So there's
there
4
is.
packs. There's 4 packs. So if you guys have been following, this is the 40K. There's the pre-orders. I'm not going to watch this video, but we've got a $40, $80, $120, $250, and $450 pack.
Because you've all got $450 laying around to put towards a video game.
Hey, yeah, but you say that, but I'll play devil's advocate for a second and say, hey, man, look at Kickstarters, right? They put $10,000, tiers in Kickstarter, and 1 or 2 people do it, and they know a
But
lot
you
of people
get
aren't going to buy the
something.
400. What?
Look at
Yeah,
these
you don't get anything?
packs. What's different? The $450 packs almost is the exact same as the $120 pack, except for some of the in-game
The
currency
credits,
that you get.
there's more currency that looks like about
That's all
it.
that's different. You don't even get in earlier. Pre-game launch access, first come, first serve, from the $40 pack to the $450 pack. You get the same number of character slots and 1 game key for all the packs. Okay, there is some early. Okay, there is access. 3rd wave, 2nd wave, 1st wave, but still, $120 pack gets in the same time as the $451. I don't know why the $251 gets more items than the $451.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask that one.
It
It gets 8 items, limited edition relic items, and that's for the $250, but the $450 doesn't get that.
Because that's legit.
Maybe it's the 480,000 RTP that they get.
All right, so everybody on the panel is ordering the $250 pack, right?
Yeah, yep. Right now, where's my credit card?
Or if ordering it means they give it to me, then okay. But This is I don't even know. We don't even have a game yet out there. This is what's ridiculous. We don't even have enough of a game to show people to release these packages in that respect. They've got it doesn't even have art in their game.
But they're doing early game access modules, early game access as well. So why is this any different than putting it on Steam with like early access and charging or something? Why? Because it's on their website. I mean, they are doing this in waves, so there is going to be some access to the game if you buy one of these. Why are we poo-pooing this?
The question is it getting ridiculous though? I don't know. Is this
well? That's a bigger question, but I'm saying I don't know. Like this doesn't seem that out of line with everything that's been going on in the gaming industry for the past year. We've seen this.
Yeah, it may not be out of line with what's happening, but I think it's kind of getting into it. We're just getting into like this thing of early access. We're going to start having pre-alpha access for like $1,000 coming up for the next game, something like that, where you get to look at art pictures as they are developed. I mean, I'm not sure what they're going to do, but I think what started a lot of this is Minecraft. And they did a lot of it early on. We're like, hey, get into the game early and help and test it while I'm developing it. But you know what they did? They said get it at a reduced price to get into the game. And then at launch, it went up. Not this pay me thousands of dollars to get into my broken game and while it's being tested and stuff and played, because the idea that you get to help define development. No, you just look for bugs for the people for the most part, especially if they're not even interacting with you and it opens up to thousands of people. You're not helping development other than testing out bugs. I guess you are. I
feel like this strikes a chord, Justin. This is like striking a chord. Did you get burned or something by like some founder pack that you bought and thought it was going to be something else?
I haven't been burned. That's a sad here. I haven't been. That's just
you feel like
I've
you
put
like
the money out there. I've got money in Star
like
Citizen. I have stuff in Landmark, and I don't even feel bad about them. I guess the thing is that I've accepted it for those, but I'm wondering if, I guess as more and more games pop out and keep doing this, I'm just looking back going, are we continuing this trend of just forever paying for an earlier version of the game and then having to play crap for the next 2 years while they develop it?
Well,
I don't see this model going away.
You're already starting to see backlash from that, though. I mean, look at DayZ and the statements they've been having to make this week, where people are like, what the heck's going on with this game I paid for? And they're coming out and reminding people, hey, we were very upfront that this is a game in development that you were paying for. But at the end of the day, you still get the argument. Things change when people give you money, whether you like it or not, and they understood that it was a game under development. But once they give you money, they become even more impatient than those of us who just sat around and wait on a game. And I think the industry as a whole, we're starting to see backlash. I mean, there are games like chat room mentioned, Cube World. How many of us gave $20 to Cube World? I know I did.
Where'd they go?
I know a lot of people at Game Breaker did. I convinced a lot of my friends to give $20 to Cube World. And I mean, what have we had, like one update since I think I gave them $20, and it's sort of disappeared into nothingness. You run into examples like that, and just when you start giving money for early access, your customers become a whole nother level of irritated and impatient, and that's just the way it's. Whether it should or should not be that, yes, they should accept the fact and know going in they're paying what they're paying for, and they're getting this early development cycle, but that does not change the fact that once they give you money, they become more impatient and they want something. They want to see some sort of development, some sort of updates, and often. And they want to know that a release is right around the corner. And it's just not happening with some of these games.
And I think we've kind of gotten into that. So obviously these whole founder packages, these backer systems and things, there's one difference is on one end you feel like you're a backer of the game, but you don't have any legal rights in that. You are literally just donating towards the development, which means that you've got no expectations other than maybe what was listed right in front of you, that you will get a copy of the game, you will get a t-shirt or whatever, but you don't have that ability that a normal backer would for games that used to have, where they go, okay, well, where are you? Let's get our quarterly report. Let's get our monthly report on the process of this game. Obviously, I'm funding you hundreds of dollars because you're only funding a small fraction of it. And so we're in this limbo, I think, in development stage of like whether these backers are feeling slighted. Are we going to start having some legal changes coming in here regarding this system? And on top of that, is our developers going to actually just kind of like find a middle ground? I almost think we're going to find a middle ground. What development's going to do, like, okay, we started this game started it way too early, and obviously that doesn't work because they It didn't even have anything long term end up happening. I think we're going to find that is where it's like, what is
Well,
too
I think
early,
you're
what's
right.
too late.
I do think that this could backlash on some of these companies and definitely get some fallout from it, and actually maybe bury a game or two because of something like this. But I don't know. I mean, I'm very picky. I'm picky and choosy when it comes to like which games I'll throw money at early with. And for the most part, I can't. I mean, I guess there has been a couple that I've made a bad decision on, like Q World and stuff. But
There's a couple you buy at launch that you also forget.
Yeah,
True.
you
That's
can waste
completely
money
true.
at launch too. You're absolutely right.
But I guess I don't know. You know, I when this whole like model kind of started coming out and we started seeing a lot of it. I think you can go back and watch a Tweemo episode because I'm sure I talked about it because I remember saying like I think that this does have the possibility to backlash on a lot of people because you can tell them till you're blue in the face that they're in an alpha and a development cycle is going to be another 3 years and 6 months from now, 7 months from now, they're just going to forget that you said that. And they're just going to be like, where's my game? Where's my update? Like, they don't care. Like, they're just going to, you could just keep telling them that they're in an alpha and they're not, they're just going to get frustrated. I don't know. Part of it, I'm the only one, I'm trying to think about the one I'm really excited about right now, which is Elite Dangerous. And I don't know. I kind of do like the fact that I'm already like involved with it and I'm watching the game kind of build and, you know, you check out the newsletter and you see what's going on and what's the new thing. And even though it's really slow I guess the back, you know, who knows if it backfires. I mean, maybe I'll be sick of Elite Dangerous by the time they actually get it out. But the other thing on the flip side of this is I don't know if some of these games that actually could be really cool would even see the light of day if they didn't do something like this. So I don't know.
That's the question that I like to raise is if you didn't have this and you didn't get burned by some games, what about all these games we would have never got
That's
if
what I'm
a system
saying.
like this didn't exist?
Elite Dangerous might not be happening.
Games that never would have happened without something like this.
Right. And that's the other flip side of it. So I kind of think you're getting to see a lot of games get developed that are actually really cool for smaller niche markets that bigger, you know, the EAs and Ubisofts would not want to make because just the market share is too small. So there's just not enough people who want to play these games. And even a game like Eternal Crusade, I don't know if this would have gotten made.
Yeah, I do like it for that respect. The indie, being able to help fund an indie department or fund something that wasn't going to be funded by a big studio, this is a great model for that respect. And for someone who likes playing niche games, I want games to go more towards the niche side. I love it for that aspect, and do think it's all go do it, create the model and stuff.
Then I think to some extent, at least right now, you're going to have to give them money to the ones that you pick and choose to is to give them some funding. I mean, eventually will more indie studios maybe start opening up that have some backing and fund smaller markets to the type of games that you're looking for and actually give game companies, you know, some money to actually make these games? Possibly. But right now, you know, the big top tier stuff, the EAs and the Activisions of the world aren't really willing to make these games. They're not willing to make an Elite Dangerous. It's way too nerdy and geeky.
Yeah, they're not funding the different. They're funding the same.
Exactly. So hopefully, I mean, that's all we can really hope for is maybe that more indie publishers kind of like, you know, come to the light of day with some actual dollars in the bank that they can fund some of this stuff. And then maybe these guys don't have to go to the Kickstarter and go to these crazy funding kind of programs. So.
But why wouldn't you? Even if you've got the money in the bank, if you could go to Kickstarter and raise $500,000, $1 million, why wouldn't you keep going? Pathfinder Online does it over and over.
True. It's true.
At some point, the consumer has to draw the line. It's up to you to decide when you're going to stop giving money.
If you don't like this package and none of these speak to you, and this game doesn't speak to you, hey, just don't buy it. I mean, I can't really, you know, I don't know where these guys are at if they need the money. I can't really say it's a terrible thing that they're asking for $40. If you want to get in, if it's worth it to you and you're a huge Warhammer fan, that might be completely worth it to you. Let's move on. We've got a lot to talk about. Next up, we were talking about Mojang a little bit. What do you think of this? This came out this week. The rumor is that Microsoft are actually looking to acquire Mojang, the company who created Minecraft. The rumor mill is kicking around is $2 billion. And the other rumor that I've seen floating around a little bit is that Notch would not be staying. That's the rumor anyway.
Yeah, I'm looking at this and I find it funny coming. This is another rumor we've got out here of a big technology company buying somebody. I mean, we had Google buying Twitch, which ended up being Amazon. We got Microsoft buying Mojang. Is it going to end up being Apple instead? Apple buys Mojang, exclusive to Apple devices.
Yeah, because the thing is, a lot of times with these don't usually just come out of thin air. You almost would think at this point that it's this widespread that there's been some sort of talk. Somebody at least asked, somebody from Microsoft at least called up Mojang and said, hey, are you for sale for $2 billion? And Mojang may have just said no and hung up the phone. But some kind of talk happened for this kind of started to get spread. The initial rumors were that we could hear something by the end of this week as far as a sale. At this point on Thursday, obviously, we haven't heard anything really more than what we've already heard, other than the Notch doesn't really want to be a part of it if it does sell, which I don't know. Is interesting that he said if it did sell, he wouldn't be a part of it instead of no, it's not selling. So, no blatant denials from Mojang, at least so far.
I mean, how do you pass up $2 billion? I mean, if somebody, I mean, there's
you create a different Minecraft.
that's. I mean, I know Notch has got plenty of money at this point anyway because they're super successful. But $2 billion, you're done. Like that's it. Cash out. I mean, there's no one.
Then you just take that money and you go start another video game development company and you create the games you were about to start creating anyway. Give me $2 billion.
In before any commenter that even says like, "Oh my God, they'd be so stupid to sell for $2 billion." Every single person under the sun on the planet Earth would sell this company for $2 billion. You'd all do it, and you'd be happy with it. You'd go live your life. You'd be happy.
Yeah, call me a sellout all you want to. I'm taking your check. You ain't got to call me more than once. If you call me up and said, "Hey, is this for sale for $2 billion?" I'll be like, yeah. Are you mailing the check now? Because I'll start packing my stuff.
And I don't think so many people realize that these indie games that they do, like these developers who are starting this, their CEOs have done this in similar things. Like they might have been they might have had a tech firm that they sold somewhere that did some kind of app or whatever, and they made tons of money, sold it, and then started a video game company after that, and they developed the game they like. I mean, it's not like it's unnatural to sell a successful product to a bigger company for a lot of money and then go start up another project that you're hoping to make more money off of. That's how business happens.
Yep, and that's the goal for a lot of these, like you said, like a lot of little tech startups and stuff from the beginning, is to try to get just big enough to sell out, make a payday, and then move on to another project. There's nothing wrong with it. If somebody wants to give you $2 billion for something like that, then just take it and go continue doing whatever it is you want to do. It's living the dream, man.
Microsoft, if you're watching, Game Breaker is all yours for $2,000. $2,000. This can all be yours. That's all I'm asking for. They want $2 billion. We want $2K. No, all right, let's move on. Selling it for $2K.
$2 billion.
All right, I got a couple more stories real quick. I want to talk about our sponsor, the World of Tanks. I love the World of Tanks so much. Love the tanks. If you guys have not checked out Tanks, it's absolutely free to play. It's not pay to win. If you're watching this show and you haven't downloaded Tanks yet, I don't know what's wrong with you. You need to get your butt over right now and put this on your hard drive. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Tanks pretty much is a game that just does not leave my desktop. I mean, it's so much fun. I jump in, I play a couple matches, I jump out. I love it. You can get it just by going to gboffer.com/tanks. That's the URL you're going to want to use, and you can download it. They got a bunch of new updates going on. They got a new one. It's I love these. I don't know if you guys watch these. You guys check these out. These back to school tank academies and stuff like that. They put out these videos and kind of help you out and stuff. I actually love it. It's a really good series to kind of get you up and running and going. But 9.3 is the one we're waiting for now. It's on the public test. That's the update that's going on right now. But we're waiting for this one. This is going to be a big one. So lots of cool stuff going on. The whole 9.0 and above series is just really, really jam-packed with a bunch of stuff. So check it out today. All you got to do, like I said, go over to gboffer.com/tanks. That's the URL. And pick it up today. It's absolutely free. You don't have to spend a penny to play. And there's just tons and tons of great. Look at this tank action. Tank on tank action. I missed it. I caught my eye because it was running in the background. This tank like flipping through the sky. It's great.
If you haven't seen them on the site, go to GameBreaker and look up some of the articles we've done on World of Tanks. We've got some articles that have just gifs of just ridiculous things happening to tanks that are actually really hilarious, and some of them are really awesome.
Check it out, gboffer.com/tanks. All right, so the World of Warcraft's Draenor raids are delayed until December 2nd. A lot of people actually seem to be happy about this, which is interesting. What's are they doing this to allow some more time for leveling before the raid dungeon opens up?
That's what they say. That's the PR reason.
PR, we're gonna let you level a bit first. I think it's kind of obvious. We all know we'll extend out our content a couple weeks longer. Or maybe even get finished with the content for a couple weeks longer, for all we know. But it's typical. I think they've done it every time they've had an expansion. They've launched the game, they gave a couple weeks, and then raids unlocked at one time. And I think part of the thing is because they've always had the races, the raid races for who world's first and stuff. So I think they kind of give those couple weeks to allow them to gear up, get ready, fully prepared, and then launch it from day one, where it feels like more of an even ground for starting off on those raids.
Yeah, because the we're going to give you time to level thing. Let's be real for a minute. The people who are chomping at the bit to get into the raids, they don't need to wait 2 weeks to be ready for that. They're going to be ready within a day or two to jump into your raid. So I mean, maybe it's to give more time. Maybe it's to let everybody sort of get into it at the same time. But your hardcore raiders, they don't need 2 weeks to be able to get into that. Even some of your not as hardcore raiders don't need 2 weeks to be able to jump into this stuff. I mean, this is what a lot of people are waiting for, this in-game raid content. They just level because they have to. So,
but from on the aspect of though, from the mental side of it, if I'm a more casual player, casual in the sense that I can level up those 10 levels or whatever it is in 2 weeks, as opposed to one day, from my perspective, the fact that I actually have those 2 weeks and then the raids open and people are trying to complete them feels a lot better than, hey, I just downloaded and got the expansion installed now and people are already beating the raids in the first couple days of the expansion. Like it feels like the game isn't already over for all these people out there. They've already installed the details and stuff. Like I want to feel like I got there and now, like, yeah, I had 2 weeks, I got there, and now I'm already trying to complete the raids as well. Like that kind of just brings that feeling of, okay, I'm still here with you all. I'm still up here in that top tier. That's what it feels like.
Raids were cleared when I logged in. 0 out of 10.
0 out of 10 cleared. All right, last up this week is an important one. It didn't really. I wouldn't say this flew under the radar, but I don't know if everybody grasps how cool this is and how important. I can't wait to hear it. Troy, I know you're a big League of Legends player. You love following the LCS and stuff. So Riot decided. I guess it was this week, earlier in the week, or was it last week? I don't remember.
It was either earlier this week or late last week.
Yeah, when the announcement came out that Riot was deciding to actually reboot the lore of League of Legends. And I know everybody's looking at it sideways going, lore? Who cares about lore in League of Legends? It's a MOBA. Nobody cares. But so yeah, they put out a statement saying, you know what? We really think that the lore and the story behind the League of Legends characters and the universe and the world is super important. And we don't think we really, have a solid foundation for it at this point. So we're going to basically reboot it and start from scratch. And then following that, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm going to be the one to say it. This is a precursor for another game. I was going to say that towards the end. I agree with 200%. Eventually, maybe not tomorrow, but this is laying the groundwork to lead into an expansion of the IP in one way or another. Whether it's
I was going to say, I think it's an expansion of the IP in a gajillion ways. Yeah. I mean, I think you're going to. That's the thing is,
or whatever. They might just be books.
Yeah, they need to start putting out some novels. I think people would.
How are you? I mean, so then today, we got our glimpse at the first look at the brand new. I'm not going to play it because YouTube hates me playing stuff. Actually, I could play without audio. But we got our first look at this League of Legends rebooted lore, which is like this, sort of, I feel like it's like a living comic book It's all voiceover, and it's got like this really cool artwork that goes along with it and tells like a story, very comic book like. And I was on the edge of my seat for like every second of this thing. I thought, I don't know. I think this is a freaking amazing way to deliver these stories of these characters and getting. And I actually cared. I actually cared about these characters for a second that I never cared about their story before.
I love the artwork. I love the way they tell the story. The voiceover, the sort of narration from Nasus, the voice work is a little meh in places. But overall, I like the way they're telling the story and the way they're going about this. I mean, like you said, this is interesting to people who maybe don't even play League of Legends. They're just like, oh, well, this is a cool story. What's going on here? And the people who play League of Legends are like, oh my God, there's a story with this. And of course, but when you go to YouTube, you go scroll down through the comments, and like almost all the comments go, well, that's not how the story goes. That's not what's happening. I'm like, what part of we're starting completely over did you miss?
Yeah, where did you miss that part that this is brand new?
All that is out the window. Some things may be similar to what they were, but that
most
is
of that went to the trash bin. That was the trash bin. This is brand new. They're gonna, and I think for a lot of the people who are kind of poo-pooing it, going like, who cares about this? It's just League of Legends. We don't care about story. I think they're gonna do the story so well that they're going to make you care about the story.
They're going to make you care. And they're going to get, like we said, they're going to expand it in ways that gives you a reason to care. And,
I can really
make you be interested.
Comics and books themselves.
Feature films. Feature films.
Even if it's an online comic systems like that, but I still think feature films definitely, but books would do well. I mean, the people who are playing this game that are really into it, they'll buy the book to read the full lore and stuff. I think they would.
I would absolutely buy League of Legends stories if they're well done. If they're not just like some of those old NES game books where they kind of try to tell you a story just by following the game and pretending like what the game happens in the story. If they have a full drawn-out lore like World of Warcraft where they can tell stories from the lore base, oh man, I would eat that alive.
But I kind of agree with the voiceover. I felt could have been a tad better. There was a couple little spots in the voiceover, but the actual dialogue of what he's saying, I love the delivery of how they're delivering it. Like I felt like I was reading a comic book. It was very much in this kind of like, I felt like I was their perspective. It was written in like the tone of it and the perspective it was from just felt really good. Like it felt like I was almost like flipping the pages of a comic book, and reading all the blurbs, like going down the corridor and getting fucking shit.
And that's the very first one they did, and everything they do well. So it's just going to get better.
Yeah.
They're going to improve this as they do more of them.
I think this is the biggest story of the week. Actually, I think gamers like for the most part are just like whatever story. But like I think in the next couple of years, like I said, I agree you're gonna see more games. With the League of Legends, cast and crew and characters, books, comic books, films. Like you're just gonna see the IP just explode. And if the story is this rich and this enticing and it's written that well, why would you not want the story to be that great? Even if it doesn't really necessarily matter that much, playing the game, like why would you not want to extend it?
It also makes each new character more inspiring. And
it's
because it's part of the things they obviously ran into is, well, we only had so many characters from the beginning. We had all these little lore pieces. As they added them, they had to like attach lore somehow to different things. I think they kind of got into a big jumbled mess with their lore between things not syncing up perfectly. So the rewrite of this, I think, will allow them to also plan future characters, and you may get a book out and it has characters in there, and now you've got a hint of what new character might come out in the future.
Yep.
Or people might want that character. They're like,
they've already proven they like teasing, because you'll see like in artwork for champions that are announced, when the next champion comes out, a lot of times we will look back at the artwork for the previous champion, and there was some sort of little Easter egg teaser in there somewhere. So you already know they love doing stuff like that.
Troy Blackburn. Follow him on the Twitter at NoobFridge. And, of course, check out all his amazing work on the GameBreaker.tv website.
Follow me on Twitter. We've got a new podcast going, too, the Noob Fridge Podcast. Check it out.
Check it out. Actually, after I talked to Justin, I don't know if you guys know we should talk about the, really quick, tell people about the all the new shows that are on.
for you all who don't know, Game Maker Nation, our community guild, has started a for the community by the community shows that we're bringing over now to the Game Maker TV channel. And the first one we brought over was this past Tuesday, called Battle Talk. It's a Blizzard talk show on everything Blizzard, and there's more coming. Some Elder Scrolls, some WildStar, some other shows out there people wanting to bring in. So be watching for those. They're going to become regularly scheduled. Every Tuesday nights at 9:30 right now or 9:30 Eastern right now for Battle Talk.
Let's put that on the agenda for tomorrow to get the live schedule updated on the website with all these new shows and stuff. Let's definitely get that, because I know a lot of you, we've been slacking a little bit and we haven't updated. Been kind of busy. So follow Justin at JK Kennedy TV, and yeah, we got some other stuff kicking around. We always got stuff kicking around. Project Ghost. People are like, what the F is that? That's what we're calling it. Part 2.
We told you more stuff is coming, and now it's all
more stuff is coming.
You can't call something Project Ghost and not think StarCraft.
Everything goes to StarCraft.
Because
we're
nothing to do
releasing
with
the
StarCraft.
StarCraft Ghost game. I know. That's my mind goes.
But no,
every time.
we've got we're gonna have some really cool stuff on the GameBreaker.tv website in I don't know, the coming month to 2 months. Which I think you're all really, really, really going to be excited about. It's being built and worked on right now. Developers are coding away, building something extremely freaking cool for the site. So, all right, we do the show live Thursdays at 5 Pacific, 5 to 6 Pacific, and following is the Republic. Can't forget that Star Wars: The Old Republic show. It's on live right after us at 6, even though we're a little bit over. You want to check out that show with Larry Everett and the gang,
With
so check that out. Yes, he's got a new co-host and
an epic intro.
Epic intro, yes.
Epic intro.
So make sure to hang out for that as well. All right, we'll see you next week. Have a great week.